Welcome to Navigating Life with Vision Loss, an Aftersight original podcast. In each episode, we share stories, insights, and practical advice to help you navigate the journey of living with low vision or blindness. Together, we'll embrace each step with courage, grace, and hope.
Hello, I'm Kim Wardlow, your host for Navigating Life with Vision Loss. We are into our series now on safety. So hopefully you've been able to listen to the previous episodes. We did some personal safety, some safety in terms of kind of emotional, psychological safety. So hopefully if you haven't listened to those, you can go back and listen to those. They're still available. And today we're going to be talking about home safety and smart tools and adaptations that you can do to make your home safe. And our guest today is Neva Fairchild. She is a well-known leader and advocate in the blind and low vision community. She has over 15 years of experience at the American Foundation of the Blind and an equal amount of years at the Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind. Neva specializes in independent living skills, workplace accessibility, and daily living adaptations for people who are blind or have low vision. She's also an expert in smart technology and practical solutions that empower individuals to live safely and independently at home. And I have the privilege of working with Neva on the IAAS, the International Association of Audio Information Services board. So Neva, welcome to NLVL.
Thank you so much.
Well, Neva, do you want to just start off just by telling a bit about your journey and how it shaped your approach to home safety?
I'd love to. I was raised by parents who took the attitude, do everything everybody else does, figure it out. So they let a very low vision kid loose in the neighborhood on a bicycle. And I didn't hit too many cars. I did hit a couple of people through my life. And the last person I hit was my last day on a bicycle. Of course, I was in my late 20s, early 30s then. I didn't grow up worrying about what I couldn't see because it was always my experience. But as I got older, my vision diminished and I realized I had to do things differently to stay safe. For example, I started using a long white cane when I was 30 years old, when I went back to college and I was working my way through a bus route and getting from a busy street onto the campus and to my building. Always before that, I just went there once with somebody. They showed me the route. I memorized it, but my vision had changed to the point that it really wasn't working for me to do things that way anymore. So part of my safety out and about in unfamiliar environments was using a long white cane so that I didn't trip over curbs or fall off curbs or fall down sets of stairs. Very painful, not only to my dignity, but to my knees and hips.
Yeah, definitely good to avoid injury.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you think was your biggest learning curve when you first started adapting your living space and you were adapting to be able to go out into the world? Did you have adaptations within your home as well?
When my vision started deteriorating to the point that I was not seeing so many details anymore, only large shapes and objects, and in a familiar environment, I knew what those things were. But when I started working for the American Foundation for the Blind, we had a demonstration model apartment where we showed people how lighting and color and texture contrast made a difference for orienting yourself to where you are in your space, as well as to making things more safe for moving about. Most homes and apartments do not have adequate lighting. People with low vision are estimated to need 3 times the amount of lighting than someone with normal vision would need to function in an environment. So When you've got one lighting fixture in the middle of the ceiling, or you've got one lamp on a table by the couch, it's just not enough light to see obstacles that are left in your way, pets that don't get out of your way. My dogs learned to get out of my way. They didn't like getting stepped on, but extra light helps. And color contrast also helps when you have beige floor, beige couch, beige pillows, beige curtains, beige walls. It just looks like a beige world. And you can change that very inexpensively by throwing an Afghan that's bright colors, or some pillows, or changing out the curtains so that you realize, hey, that's the wall I'm getting close to. It's orange, not beige. That must be the windows. It's helpful to draw your attention to where you are and to be able to avoid obstacles. For example, sitting a dark brown recliner on a beige carpet, that recliner is going to jump out at you if you have even the lowest vision. I could see those kind of contrasts until my vision, basically went away completely. And it was helpful to me to move around both in my work environment and my home environment. It's also important to use safety measures that everybody will benefit from, like keeping clutter out of the walkways and not stretching cords across places where you might trip over them, and keeping things organized, always putting the packages that come in from the UPS man up on a surface instead of down on the floor where you can trip and fall over them. The same thing is true at the office. It's just good practice not to pile the extra copy paper in the hallway where somebody's going to fall over it as they're walking along, not seeing it because of their vision loss, or they're walking along looking at their phone instead of where they're going.
That's true. There are multiple reasons folks might not see an obstacle in their way. Why is it so important to think about safety proactively rather than reactively, to really be thinking? And I'm thinking, if you know you're progressively losing vision, to kind of do some of those things proactively, rather than waiting till something happens.
I think there's two main reasons for that, is to enjoy those changes, like being able to see the room better or move around in your space more efficiently, maybe even faster than going at a pokey pace because you can't see well, while your vision is as good as it is right now. We don't know what our vision is going to be tomorrow, so why not improve and enjoy more visibility in our world? And then the second reason is to prevent that fall and injury. It's a very scary statistic, and it got my attention. And I wasn't 50 yet when I learned this statistic, but after the age of 50, a fall results in a broken bone. If a fall results in a broken bone, the person dies within a year 20% of the time.
Wow, that is
Now,
a
I'm not
sobering
talking.
statistic.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yes, it
So
is.
it's not that you fall and break your neck. Okay, that does happen. God help us, it does happen. But it's really the secondary, the blood clots, the sedentary lifestyle that results, the secondary effects of a broken bone, especially a major bone like a thigh bone or a hip. And then 20% of people are dead within a year. Now, I don't know about you, but that does not appeal to me. So
No.
preventing falls is super important as we get older. It's always important because nobody likes to fall, even if you're not really injured. It's embarrassing and your dignity is bruised. But it can be very dangerous and painful, whether you're outside or inside, at home, at work, out in the community. It doesn't matter. Preventing falls is very important for our safety and our health.
Yes, for sure. Well, as we think about making adaptations in our home, or it might be, as you said, at work, what are some of the smart tools that you would recommend for somebody just starting out?
Well, it really depends on your level of comfort with technology. And I meet a lot of people, especially people who are older, who are not comfortable with technology. And sometimes I think it takes a compelling reason to embrace technology before they take that step. So I'm going to give you a couple. The first one is the smart home speakers, like the Amazon Echo or the Google Home, or there's others that are out there that I don't even know the names of. Apple has one. I don't know the name. I think it was Apple Home or Apple Pod. I don't know. They all run together after a while. But a smart speaker in strategic places in your home gives you a way to call for help. If you have a fall, if you're just not feeling well, you can ask for help. You can call emergency services. You can also call a family member who might be able to, come over and help. The simplicity of that appeals to me because no matter where I am in my home, I can tell the lady to call my daughter, my husband, or 911. I also think that people are often too reluctant to call 911. Oh, I think I'm having chest pains. I think I'll call a neighbor to drive me to the hospital. It's not wise. It really is dangerous because if your heart stops and you stop breathing part way to the hospital, what is that neighbor going to do? Nothing. They have to keep driving. And
Right.
if you're in an ambulance, they have something to do. So using some good judgment, some I'm going to be safe rather than sorry judgment is also very important. Having a smartphone in your hand doesn't do you any good if it's sitting on your nightstand and you're in the kitchen. Having a smartphone nearby is an easy way also to call emergency services or to call a neighbor or a family member for help. So having those communication tools that you're comfortable with, I think is the first battle. Having the information you need at hand is the second battle. Do you know your doctor's numbers? Do you know the neighbor next door's number? Do you have those numbers memorized or are they programmed into your smartphone so you can say, hey, sir, I'm not going to say his name because everybody's phone will go off. Call, my daughter, call Jim, call 911 so that you know how to use it and you have the numbers stored and can get to them. Sometimes those smart devices aren't so smart.
That's true. I think lots of us have had that experience.
Yeah, I mean, every morning I ask it to cook something for 7 minutes at 400, and I usually have to tell her twice. So, good practice with it, and then being patient and not freaking out and getting upset. I'd also like to just touch on the whole, disaster preparedness. You don't know if and when there's going to be a fire in your house or when there's going to be a tornado that, or a flood that's encroaching, and having information in a go bag. Mine is a red backpack that's in the top of my closet in where my coats hang. And that's kind of on the way from the bedrooms to the front door. So I can open that door, grab it, and run out the front door. And I have copies of my husband's and my driver's license. What if my purse isn't findable when I need to exit the house? Our insurance card copies are in there. A list of names and phone numbers, because what if my phone wasn't nearby to grab when I ran out of the house? And I'm telling you, when I was in a fire at an office, I tried to dial 911 from the landline phone. And because it was a voice over IP phone, it did not connect to 911. I finally gave up and ran out of the building and counted on somebody else to call 911. My cell phone was laying right there on the desk. Did I think to pick it up and run out the door and call once I was outside? No, I did not. And sometimes my phone is in the other part of the house. So if I want to get out fast, which that's what they tell you, get out fast, don't stay, don't try to stop it, don't try to save your family photos off the wall, save your life. It's the most important thing, is you may not have those numbers when you get outside. So that's the kind of thing. When I had a dog guide, I had a bag of food, and a portion of a prescription bottle in there with his medicine. I had prescription bottles with just a few of my pills in there. And that way, if I had to go to a shelter, I at least had a day or two of food and a day or two of medicine for both me and my dog. And yeah, my husband's was in there too.
Well, I know all of us label things, whether we're doing tactile markers, Braille, large
Mhm.
print, whatever kind of markings that work for us, that we use to label and organize things. But are there things in the home, either that we may not think about labeling that could be important in terms of safety, or just things that should be maybe some of the first things that we label in our home?
Well, definitely labeling prescription and over-the-counter medication, I would say, is first, foremost, primary thing to know for sure what you're taking. And you can get Braille labels if you get your your pharmaceuticals filled through a mail order pharmacy. They have Braille labels available. Your local brick and mortar pharmacy does not, but they have talking labels. Many of them use ScriptTalk. CVS uses Spoken RX. Walgreens uses a stick-on audio recorder that tells you the medication. Wherever you get it, however you get it, I like to use WayAround for my over-the-counter drugs. WayAround is a smart phone tag and scan system that works with iOS, Android, Blind Shell 2, and Blind Shell 3. And so I put labels. I get all my prescriptions through mail order, so I have Braille labels on them. They're easy. But all the over-the-counter supplements and vitamins and melatonin and CoQ10, all that stuff I take, I want to know which bottle it is so that when I, am out, I know for sure I need to get a new bottle of that item, and I don't end up overdosing taking two of an item because I thought it was my CoQ10, but really it was my vitamin E. So now I'm taking, double up on the vitamin E or double up on the CoQ10 if I don't have a label on it. And I use the buttons from WayAround. I drop them down inside the bottle with the pills. There's no way you can mistake it for a pill. It's like the size of a dime or two dimes really stacked together. And then you can read the tag right through the bottle. I don't recommend putting labels on the lids to bottles of medication, whether they're over the counter or prescription. Because if you accidentally open two bottles while you're getting your pills out and you've got two bottle caps with labels on them laying there, it's real easy to put the wrong cap on the wrong bottle. And then you're taking the wrong thing in the wrong dose, maybe even at the wrong time.
Right.
So if you're going to label it either inside the bottle with something that you can read with your phone, or a sticker on the bottom of the bottle or the side of the bottle if you don't mind covering up print that someone else might want to read. The cap or the lid of a bottle is it's unsafe to do that. And prescription mistakes send tens of thousands of people to the ER every year, and thousands of them die because of prescription mistakes.
Yeah. That's scary too. It's so easy if you just take an overdose, the wrong, of a medicine.
Yeah.
You can really have some serious consequences.
It can even happen to somebody who's sighted.
Sure.
My husband and I were visiting his parents, and he was like, "Mom, I need a Tylenol." "Oh, they're by the sink." And he went in there and he just picked up a bottle and took 2 capsules. And he was sick as a dog later in the day. And then the next day, "I've got a headache. I think I'm going to take some more Tylenol." Happened again. I'm like, "Wait a minute."
What are you taking?
I said, "Go get that bottle and read." He was taking his father's theophylline, which is a COPD medication. And
oh my goodness.
The overdose effects are sick as a dog. And he has 20/20 vision.
Yeah, it can be easy just to pick up the wrong bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other, I guess either high-tech or low-tech solutions that you'd recommend for other parts of the house?
It's important to know the things under your sink. There's a lot of dangerous stuff under our kitchen sinks and under our bathroom sinks. So I do think labeling them in a very secure way so that you know the difference between Raid, ant, and roach killer and oven cleaner.
Right.
It's also important to know the difference between not only for your safety, but for the condition of the item you're spraying it on, the difference between Febreze and Clorox cleanup, for example. If my, living room carpet isn't smelling the freshest and I'm going to go spray it heavily with Febreze to take away all those doggy scents, and it's Clorox cleanup, I just ruined a whole room full of carpeting. So safety, yes, but also, caring for our things properly. Spraying stain remover on something instead of some other harsh chemical that could be, dangerous to inhale as well as to get on your skin. The other thing is using gloves when you need to with harsh products. That's so important. And making sure that it's well ventilated. You've got the ceiling fan on, or you've turned a room fan on so that you're blowing away the fumes and breathing clean air. You can succumb to fumes very easily. I remember my grandmother was cleaning her oven, and I was a teenager. I went over to her house and found her crumpled on the floor.
Oh,
The oven
my.
door was open, and the house smelled like, a chemical factory. And she had just overused the oven cleaner, and it wasn't ventilated well. She recovered, but she could have hurt herself when she fell, or
Right.
that kind of respiratory impairment could lead to serious problems. I don't want to be a scare tactics kind of person, but there's a lot of dangerous things in our homes. A lot of people use muriatic acid in their shower to open their shower drains. That stuff is really dangerous and should not be used by somebody who isn't sure what it is or isn't sure how to use it. Those kinds of things they're so avoidable. So careful labeling of products and then using them properly. And when you don't know how to use them properly, it's worth waiting till you can either read the label with an app on your phone like Seeing AI, or you can search the web for instructions about that product, or a friend or family member can read that label to you and help you be positive that you know how to use it safely. I also think it's important to know our appliances and the information about them and how to use them. For example, I was at a conference this past week, and the lady was talking about a fire blanket. It's about a 40-inch by 40-inch blanket that if you have a stovetop fire, you just throw it on top of it and it smothers the fire. If you have a fire in your oven because something stayed in there too long, or a kitchen towel got caught in the door and actually went into the oven with the food and fell down on the burner, which if you're blind, that can happen pretty easily. With the oven, all you need to do is leave the door closed and turn the power off, and the fire will go out. Whether it's gas or electric, with no power and no air, fire can't burn. And so you're just knowing those things about your appliances. I also think it's important to know the brand and the model and even the serial number of your appliances, who to call when something goes wrong. If your dishwasher starts flooding your kitchen, turn it off and throw down towels and call a repairman. Well, if you don't know what brand it is, you don't know who to call, you don't know what to tell them, they're going to charge you 2 trips to come and find out what you have and then to go back and get parts. If you call with the knowledge of what your dishwasher is, what brand it is, even what serial number it is, they'll be able to tell you that it's under warranty, and they'll bring out the typical parts that they need, and it's a one-trip fix. And the way I do that in my house is, again, the WayAround stickers. I have those on all my appliances: the hot water heater, washer, dryer, dishwasher, stove, which is a combination, freestanding range, and my microwave and my refrigerator. Because when they go out, I want to get help as fast as I can.
Yeah, definitely. If you're setting something up, if it's new, a new tool or setups, do you have suggestions of mistakes to avoid if you're trying out something new?
Well, there's a few common sense things, using scissors or a box cutter or whatever to open up a package. You always want to cut away from yourself. Learned that in Girl Scouts, and if you were a Boy Scout, they taught the same thing, to always cut away from you to open a box. I learned the hard way that you should make sure that when you are picking up a box and carrying it somewhere, that there isn't already an open top, because I picked it up and don't ask me how, but the box wasn't pointed up. The open was to the side. I picked it up and started across the room and it fell out. That was the end of that air fryer. So, you just never know. You gotta check things out. Is this box really sealed? And then as you pull it out, I like to go to the lowest thing that's comfortable for me. Usually that's the couch or even the floor, to open something so it's not going to drop off the edge of the countertop or the table. And then, sit there and go through it. I use my phone and my Seeing AI app to read the instruction manual. Sometimes it's hard to get to the English part because they put 3 or 4 other languages in the book. But it's real easy to tell when it doesn't speak your language that it's the wrong page. And I get to that, or I look it up online by the name, model number, and brand name and model number of the product to look for instructions. A lot of times you can even find unboxing instructions and videos on YouTube. Sometimes the videos are helpful because the person's talking the whole time, and sometimes it's just a video and it's nice music, which isn't helpful. There's usually multiple options, and I'll go through 3 or 4 or 5 of those till I find a really good one before I start, if I can't get the instruction manual to read well enough. An example of that is I got a new CPAP mask, and I tried reading the book, and apparently it was all just graphical drawings. Because when I had my sister work with me, it was just pictures. It was like an IKEA instruction, only pictures.
There's nothing for your reader to read.
No. So sometimes it comes down to, you gotta ask the help of a sighted person. We're all interconnected, and none of us are completely independent. Every human on this planet is interdependent. And so we have to go to others sometimes. I work hard to do it as independently as possible, but sometimes you just have to go to somebody else.
Well, and that also kind of makes me think, if you have family, caregivers, roommates, if you have other, or even just friends over, if you have other people, in your home, one, you might be able to ask for help, but also, how can you, if you're the person who might be offering help, best support someone with low vision? I know sometimes people want to overhelp, but also if you are the person with low vision, how you can kind of get people to understand when you need help and where you don't.
It's a good point, Kim. Honestly, most people have the best of intentions, but they don't always know when they're over helping. So my suggestion is, if you are a helper, you ask, how can I help you with that? Not take it out of their hand and do it for them. Okay? If you see somebody, is about to step off a curb, into a busy street, stop. You're about to step into the street, instead of grabbing them and jerking them back. Now, if the bus is only 12 feet away, that might be appropriate, but words are usually better than action. Right. Most of the time not. I'm hoping that most people would hear that bus if it was only 12 feet away, but maybe not. So asking, how can I help, And then as the person who is blind or has low vision, asking for help in specific ways. Can you help me by reading these instructions? Can you tell me what this says? Handing them a bottle of something or a package of something. Can you tell me how many cups of water I'm supposed to boil this pasta in? You don't need to read it from top to bottom. Just what do the instructions say?
Mhm.
Asking in a specific way will get you the help you want faster. I recommend that people who live alone and don't often have a helper make a little spot for things you need help with. Okay? To put them there, or a way to make a list, whether it's recorded or written, even if you can't read what you write, people that can see can read what you write. And you could make a little card that says, check the setting on the freezer. Because gee, the ice cream was really mushy last night, and that way you can remember those things. So when somebody comes in, you can say, hey, I've got a couple of things I really need your help with right now. And again, if you're a helper, if you see something that is really out of place, like, gee, Dad, did you know that there's a half gallon of milk sitting out here on the countertop and it's warm? So I think it's probably been sitting here a while. I should probably pour that out and go get you another half gallon, because food safety is really important when you think about the ability to recover from a food poisoning that's, for somebody who's already maybe dealing with other illnesses, and then you add food poisoning on top of it, it can be really hard. So, if you see something, say something applies in lots of situations around people's house. Gee, Neva, you've got an extension cord stretched here across this walkway in the dining room. Are you sure that's safe? Oh, I forgot. I plugged in my hot glue gun and I forgot to take that away. Thank you for reminding me. I would rather have somebody do that and catch me in a mistake than I would like to fall over that cord and hit the ground face first.
Right. Definitely. Well, these have all been like really great tips. There's so many things that I think we don't think about, all the various types of safety issues that may be in our homes, from causing potential falls, or food safety you mentioned, just all kinds of things that we sort of just navigate through every day and don't always think about it. But if we're really trying to think about safety in our homes, going through those things, do you have advice for someone who maybe, now that they've thought about all these things in their home and they're feeling a little overwhelmed by all the things that they may need to check or do you have advice, or maybe, where someone could start if they want to do one immediate improvement?
I do. I think using the APH Connect Center, APH stands for American Printing House Connect Center, which that's their website, aphconnectcenter.org, and visiting the VisionAware website, or calling their 800 number that's on that main page of their website, which I'm sorry, I don't have it memorized. It is a good idea for tips and tricks and resource guides and videos to watch that are designed for people with low or no vision to be able to understand without being able to see the videos. There's also services available in communities from the local agency for the blind, which is usually called OIB, Older Individuals Who Are Blind, for people over the age of 55, or VR for people under the age of 55, to get independent living skills, to make sure their home is safe and accommodates their needs. Because it's not just, blindness is not a one-time deal. For a lot of people, there are other disabilities to deal with, like unsafe stairs, or steps onto their porch that don't have a place to hold on, and those kinds of things. That kind of adaptation is important to get sooner rather than later, and they can help. And if they have other community resources, like for building a ramp to help someone get down a set of stairs onto their driveway. They can do that kind of thing through community resources. And the easiest way to find all of these is to dial 211 on your phone and tell the operator that answers the kind of help you're needing, the kind of trouble you're having, and let them find local resources to connect you to. 211 is a great resource that if you haven't discovered it yet, you can ask all sorts of questions and they'll put you through to the right people.
Well, thank you, Neva, for the resources and the advice. How would someone connect with you if they're interested in the work you're doing or maybe have a question for you?
They could reach out to me at expertsonblindness.com. That's expertsonblindness.com. There's a phone number. There's also a contact form that you can send me a request very easily on the computer.
And do you just want to highlight for folks that the work that you are doing?
I serve as an expert witness to attorneys who are litigating cases involving people who are blind or have low vision. Sometimes it's medical malpractice, sometimes it's personal injury, sometimes it's denial of services and accommodations on the job. And the attorneys reach out to me for expert witness services, either in the negotiation toward a settlement or at trial.
Great. Well, if those services are needed, they are so important. So thank you for sharing your contact information. Thank you again for joining us on NLVL.
Thank you so much. It's been a delight.
And for all of you listening, as I said, you can go back and listen to those first 3 episodes. Next week, we will be talking about cybersecurity, so identity and digital safety. So that is so prevalent these days with all of our devices and getting hacked into and scams and things. So be sure to join us for that. We also have all of our other podcasts that are done by Aftersight, the Blind Chick, Blind Sight, Blind Level Tech, and now our newest podcast is Code Orange, which relates to the safety series that we're doing now. It focuses on that emergency preparedness that Neva mentioned a little bit earlier, but beyond just the to-go bags, but looking at many types of different scenarios and staying safe in lots of those scenarios. So we thank you so much for listening. If you're able, we always appreciate donations. Aftersight is a nonprofit organization, so you can do that. Our website is www.aftersight.org. We're also always happy if you share your own stories, safety tips, or if you have questions, you can reach us by email at feedback@aftersight.org, feedback@aftersight.org, or our phone number is 720-712-8856 if you'd like to leave feedback. Again, that's 720-712-8856. Just a reminder to subscribe and share the show with others if you know somebody else that might benefit from the show. And as always, we hope this episode and the information it included help you navigate your life with vision loss.